Hello, welcome to another module in this online course, Strategy and Introduction to Game Theory. So, we are looking at games with mixed strategies and mixed strategy Nash equilibria. Let us now look at another example of a game with a mixed strategy Nash equilibria. Let us look at an investment game or a portfolio management game. Let us look at a portfolio management game or an let us look at a portfolio management game or an investment game. What is this investment game? We can think, and this is an interesting game, it is not readily going to be obvious as to who the players are. Well, one of the player is of course going to be the investor, right, investor I, and he has two options, either to invest in stock 1, right, he can either invest in stock 1, let us denote this by S1, or he can invest in stock 2, S2, right. So, an investor can either invest in stock 1 and stock 2. And the information he has are the returns for these stocks, returns, the past returns of stocks. There is return 1, let us say from year 1, that is the rate 1 and rate 2. What are these rates? Well, let us say the rate 1 corresponds to the past year and rate 2 corresponds to the year before that, right. He has some history, he has some history of the returns from that particular stocks, right. So, now let us represent this game as a game table, of course, fully realizing that at this point we still have only one player, we have not indicated who the other player is, but let us try to draw this game table, and therefore, the game table for this can be drawn as follows. So, there is the investor and he can invest in stock 1 or stock 2 and the rates are R1 and R2, and we have not mentioned yet who the second player is. And let us say stock 1 in the past year, that is corresponding to rate 1, has a return of 5 and corresponding stock 2 has a rate of 10 in the past year. However, in the year before that, in the year that is stock 1 has a rate of 6 and stock 2 has a rate of 3, which means let us say these are percentages. The stock 1 yields a return on investment of 5%, stock 2 yields yielded a return on investment of 10% in the past year, and in the year before that stock 1 yielded an return on investment of 6% and stock 2 yielded a return of investment of 3%, and now you are trying to figure out for this year, for the current year, how do I invest in stock 1 and stock 2. Now, how about the second player? Of course, in this game there is no obvious second player, that is the stock broker or the investor is not investing against any other particular player, but we can think of him as investing against an adversity like the stock market, right. So, we can think as his adversary or his opponent being nature or the stock market, right, or the nature or market, right. And we can think of as the market being an adversity, we can think as if the market is whatever the stock investor is trying to invest, we can think of the adversary as trying to minimize his return, right. So, we can think of as the stock market being unpredictable and trying to play an opposite strategy or trying to compete with the investor to minimize his returns of the stocks, and therefore, we can think of the return of, or we can think of as the payoff of the stock market being the minus of the payoff of the investor, right. So, this is an interesting game, this is an interesting investment game, in which we are modeling this as a game between an investor and the stock market, the investor is trying to maximize his profit and the stock market is acting as an adversary and trying to minimize his profit, right. And therefore, we can think of this as an investment game in which an investor is trying to match his wits against their adversary and trying to maximize his wits, trying to use an optimized strategy to maximize his payoff. And now again let us try to see if this game has a pure strategy Nash equilibrium. Well, if the nature of stock market chooses the returns of the previous year are 1, then it is better to invest in stock 2. On the other hand, if the stock market chooses the year before that, then it is better to invest in stock 1 since it yields a return of 6%. And if the investor chooses to invest in stock 1, then the adversary can choose the past year because it gets -5, while if the investor chooses to invest in S2, then the stock market can choose R2, that is the year before the past year, so that it gets a rate of -3, and therefore, you can again see no intersection, there is no intersection of best response in pure strategies, which implies no pure strategy that is in the stock market investment game, there is no pure strategy Nash equilibrium, right, where this is a game being modeled as a game between an investor and the stock market, there is no pure strategy Nash equilibrium. So, naturally, we have to look at a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. So, let us look at a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. Let me redraw the game table as the investor and the market, stock 1, stock 2, rate 1, rate 2, and the payoffs are 5, -5, 6, -6, 10, -10, 3, -3, and let us say the investor is mixing with probabilities P and 1 minus P. If the market always chooses rate 1, that is if it always chooses the previous year, then its payoff is -5 times P plus minus times 10 times 1 minus P. So, if the market M always chooses rate 1, then its payoff is -5 times P plus -10 times 1 minus P, which is equal to 5P minus 10. On the other hand, you can see if the market always chooses the year before that, that is chooses rate 2, then its payoff is -6 times P plus -3 times 1 minus P, that is the return for the market if it always chooses rate 2 is -6 times P plus -3 times 1 minus P, which is equal to, well, -3P minus 3, and therefore, now it will use a mixed strategy only when these two payoffs are equal. It will randomly choose, that is nature or stock market randomly chooses to mix these two only when the payoffs are equal, which means 5P minus 10 is equal to -3P minus 3, which implies 8P is equal to 7, which implies P is equal to 7 by 8. Therefore, the mixed strategy employed by nature or the stock market is P equal to 7 by 8, 1 minus P is equal to 1 by 8. So, the mixed strategy employed by the investor, I am sorry, the mixed strategy employed by the investor is P equal to 7 by 8, 1 minus P equal to 1 by 8, and this can be thought as him investing 7 by 8 of the funds in stock 1 and 1 by 8 of the fund in stock 2. So, mixed strategy implies invests 7/8 funds in stock 1 and 1/8 funds in stock 2. So, he invests 7/8 of the funds in stock 1 and 1/8 of the funds in stock 2, right. And similarly, and therefore, this is the mixed strategy employed by the investor. Now, we can also find the mixed strategy employed by nature. Let us say nature is mixing with probability q and 1 minus q, right. If the investor is always choosing stock 1, his return is 5q plus 6 times 1 minus q. If that is, if the investor is always choosing stock 1, his return is 5 times q plus 6 times 1 minus q, which is equal to, well, 6 minus q. And if the investor is always choosing stock 2, his return is 10 times q plus 3 times 1 minus q. That is, if the investor is always choosing stock 2, his return is, well, his return is 10 times q plus 3 times 1 minus q, which is equal to 7q plus 3, right. So, if the investor is always choosing to invest in stock 1, his return is 6 minus q, and if he is always choosing to invest in stock 2, his return is 7q plus 3, and he will choose to use a mixed strategy, and therefore, he will choose to use a mixed strategy only when 6 minus q equals 7q plus 3, 6 minus q equals 7q plus 3 implies 8q equals 3 implies q equals 3/8 and 1 minus q equals 5/8. Therefore, this is the mixed strategy employed by his adversary or the stock market. Therefore, mixed strategy employed in the market is 3/8, 5/8, and therefore, the mixed strategy Nash equilibrium of this investment or portfolio management game is, well, 7/8, 1/8 for the investor and 3/8, 5/8 for the market. This is the mixed strategy for the investor, and this is the mixed strategy for the market, which means the investor is using the mixture 7/8, 1/8, that is, he is investing 7/8 of the funds in stock 1, 1/8 of the funds in stock 2, and the market is choosing the return R1 of the past year with probability 3/8 and return R2 of the year before that with probability 5/8. So, this is an interesting example of a portfolio management or an investment game in which one can think of the investor playing against his adversary, which is the stock market, and trying to maximize his worst case payoff. All right. So, with this we will conclude our discussion in this module. Thank you very much.